Road Bakerloo Line underground station. Now, first of all, I had a hidden London tour at Baker Street to attend, so I had to get from my hotel right next to Edgware Road Bakerloo Line station all the way across to Baker Street, since I didn't actually have that long to get to Baker Street. Now, I thought I would film this bit, as later on I would actually be trekking around most of London, mainly East London, sampling some of the great public transport London has to offer, mainly tubes, DLRs and buses. However, there was a few odd little bits here and there. Now, I didn't actually get to do all of what I wanted to do, just because of how long the journey actually took. However, here I am on my first train, which is one of the Bakerloo Line 1972 stock trains, which is going to take me all the way from Edgware Road to Baker Street.
This is Marylebone. Change here for National Rail Services. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
At Baker Street, which is where the tour began, and is also home to the Madame Tussauds Museum as well as Sherlock Holmes. Here I am now at the meeting point, which is outside Baker Street Station by the Sherlock Holmes statue. Now I'm going to go off and do the tour and leave you here on a train going towards Euston Square.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
This is Great Portland Street. This is a Hammersmith and City Line train to Barnet. The next station is Euston Square. Change for London Overground and the National Rail Services from Euston.
Hello everybody and welcome back on the train to Euston Square. Here we are now at Euston Square. I thoroughly enjoyed the tour, so if you haven't seen the video of pictures on the tour, I recommend you go and watch it, especially if you can't actually afford to go on the tour, which is very good value for money and is much better value for money than the hotel and the train to get to London. Anyway, here I am now at the amazing station that is Euston Square, which has some very old signage. Now you may be wondering, Fred, where are you going from Euston Square, since there's no other tube lines? Well, this video clip might give you an answer. That's right, I walked all the way to the dungeon that is Euston Station. Now on the inside, yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. It's a little bit ugly and cramped, but what do you expect? Most other London terminals are very cramped. However, on the outside, what were they thinking of? The station is so ugly and so boring and bland. Usually I like brutalist stuff. However, this brutalist stuff is so boring, and it's low-rise brutalist stuff as well, which is absolutely awful. Why don't they keep the old historic entrance that they tore down? It looked absolutely fantastic and was better than what the station looks like now. That's definitely for sure. Anyway, I didn't have very long here before I headed underground to get on my first of the proper tubes, which is the Victoria line.
Stand clear of the closing doors.
Now, if you haven't just guessed from what I just said, I am travelling all the way to the end at Walthamstow Central. Now, obviously, not very many people go to Walthamstow, since I had the entire carriage to myself.
Where this train terminates, all change please. Change for London Overground. Please remember to take all your personal belongings with you when you leave the train. All change please.
am now leaving Walthamstow Central Underground Station to make my way up to Walthamstow Bus Station. You can also change here for London Overground services. Now, due to time constraints, I couldn't actually get on the London Overground. However, I was planning to use the service. However, in some places and some areas, the service is actually quite slow. However, it is a very interesting and useful service. If you want to see me ride the London Overground, I think I have covered it in some of my other videos. However, something I haven't covered yet on the channel is the London Superloop, which is some innovative new bus system which basically does an orbit around London. Sort of. They don't really meet up. Even on the map they don't really meet up, even with the Thames splitting them apart. However, to get anywhere super fast, we had to get out of Walthamstow Bus Station, which is a task easier said than done. Here we are finally leaving Walthamstow Bus Station on the Superloop SL2 bus operated by Arriva London on our way to Gants Hill. Now the traffic around Walthamstow is awful, and it wasn't very long before we got stuck in traffic.
Station, Cranbrook Road.
Here we are arriving at Gants Hill, which is one of the only stops on the Superloop SL2 service, as I think most Superloop services, so that they're super and fast, have limited stops, with Gants Hill being one of them on the SL2. Here we are descending into Gants Hill Station. Now looking at this picture, you would probably think that Gants Hill Station is awful and is another pit from hell, just like Euston. Probably not as bad. However, it looks like you're going to go into this underpass and meet some drunk drug dealers. However, get into the actual ticket hall of the station itself and go down to platform level, and the station looks absolutely spectacular. Unfortunately for me, the Central Line train heading back into central London turned up straight away. However, good news everyone, the train hadn't been refurbished. Now most people absolutely hate the Central Line, however I absolutely love it. It's not only very useful and also serves as a relief line for the Elizabeth Line or the other way around, the Central Line is also very unique and is the longest line on the London Underground network. As well as that, it also has some very unique trains, which are my favourite tube trains, with the second favourite tube trains being the 1972 stop on the Bakerloo line. The Central Line trains are just so unique, and unfortunately, to keep them going, Transport for London have decided to give them a refurbishment, which is completely ruining the Central Line trains, at least the outside. The outside is mainly staying the same, however, the motor is being changed, which is kind of what I like about it. However, the interior isn't really being changed that much. Anyway, stations on this part of the line, like Gants Hill, are absolutely beautiful, such as Wanstead Station. Here I am arriving into Leighton, which is my next changing point on the route, where I had to change off of the Central Line onto an Arriva bus. Now, most people, whether or not you're bus enthusiasts or rail enthusiasts, or just use the bus and trains, will know that Arriva are an awful company, especially since they got taken over by DB, which is the main German transport company, and have completely ruined the company and made them even more unreliable than what they already were. However, there is one reason why I wanted to go onto this Arriva bus, and it wasn't a Superloop bus, so it was a bit late. Here I am now at a very congested Leighton Stop A bus stop. Now here you can see why I wanted to get onto the Arriva 158 bus, which will be taking us all the way to Stratford bus station. It was a VDL DB300 Wright Gemini 2, which actually made a nice change to the Volvo B90L variant, which most other companies have. Now Arriva are the only big operators to have these, however a few other smaller regions and smaller bus companies do have a few of these VDLs. Most importantly, Axe Valley Mini Travel, just down the road from where I live, in Seaton, in Devon actually have one, which used to operate with Arriva in London. However, I haven't actually managed to get on that. It was so much easier just to come to London to get on one of these than what it was to pop down the road to Seaton to get on one of these, since the one in Seaton doesn't actually go out very often. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on. I know I've waffled on too much in this video, So just listen to the absolutely magnificent VDL engine.
Stratford bus station. This bus terminates here.
Here I am now at Stratford bus station, situated right next to Westfield Stratford, the Stratford Centre, and most importantly, Stratford Railway Station, which is a massive bus and train complex, along with a shopping complex pretty much. Now, after going to the wrong DLR platforms, I did finally make my way to the right DLR platforms to head down to Canning Town, with a final destination of Royal Victoria. I think you can see where I was heading.
This train is called Woolwich Arsenal by London City Airport. The next stop is Abbey Road.
Here we are leaving West Ham Station, where you can change for National Rail C2C services, as well as the District and Hammersmith and City lines, as well as fast Jubilee line trains, which run fast to Canning Town. Here I am arriving at Canning Town, which is another confusing mess of a station, just like Stratford. Here I had to change DLR trains from one platform to the other, as trains from Stratford and Stratford International don't go to Royal Victoria on the Beckton branch. My DLR train arriving at Canning Town to take me just the one stop to Royal Victoria. This time I had one of the older original DLR trains.
The next stop is Royal Victoria. Exit the London Cable Car and City Hall.
Here I am arriving at Royal Victoria, which is on the outskirts of the XL London site, and more importantly, is home to the London IFS Cloud cable car, which I was hoping to get on. You'll see why in a minute. I refused. Here I am arriving at the London cable car. Now, I don't know if you can see in the background there is a massive queue, which I'm happy to wait in if it's not 45 minutes long. That's right, the queue for the cable car, which although it is sort of a touristy thing, isn't supposed to be a touristy thing, was 45 minutes long. I don't believe all of them were just commuters waiting to go across the River Thames. Now, as much as I appreciate tourists are coming to London, it's a 45-minute wait. If I had a 45-minute wait to get on the Central line, I would be walking. So instead of using the cable car, I ended up going straight to my next destination. Now the wait was 45 minutes long for the cable car. I ended up getting nearly, not all the way, but nearly to my next destination, which is Jane's Trains, all the way over the other side of the city in Tooting, for nearly the same time as what I'd be stuck in that stupid queue for. So I'm sorry that I'm moaning about the cable car, because it's brilliant, but it just needs to be more efficient. There were cable cars going across the River Thames, which had like 2 people in, and there was like 100 people in a 45-minute line. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, here we are arriving back at Canning Town.
Just let the lady come out. Once these people come out, you can go and drive it.
Is for pop
Another Jubilee line. Now, I don't know if there was an event on at Excel or if it was just loads of people wanted to go shopping in the Docklands, but all of the transport methods, including the cable car around the Docklands, were absolutely packed. So I don't know if there's a special event going on or what, but everything around the Docklands was absolutely packed and was very busy, including the Jubilee line, as you can see here. I'll be taking the Jubilee line all the way through the new Jubilee line extension through the Docklands all the way to London Bridge, or as Jeff calls it, Brundon Lidge. I absolutely love that joke.
For the Northern Line and National Rail services.
What?
This station is London Bridge. Change here for the Northern Line.
Here I am now at London Bridge. Now, I didn't actually hang on to watch the train go and film it, simply because time was rattling on and I wanted to get to Jane's Train, since after all, I was filming this video on my birthday and I kind of wanted to get something for myself from Jane's Trains, since I hadn't been there for a number of years. Since for the last couple of times I've been to London, I've gone to Sidcup, to Invicta Model Rail. However, they haven't really had any proper good trains at cheap prices and hadn't had any modern model buses. So although Jane's Trains don't have modern model buses or any model buses, they do have a lot of trains that I like, most importantly, at cheap prices. Anyway, here is my Northern Line train, which is also packed, arriving into London Bridge. This train wasn't as packed as the Jubilee line, but still very busy. I suppose this was now 3 o'clock, and after midday, the tube gets absolutely rammed for some reason. arriving into Tooting Broadway, which is the nearest underground station to James Trains, and since it was too much of a faff to get on Thameslink to go to Tooting Station, which is right next door to James Trains, I ended up walking rest of the way from Tooting Broadway to James Trains model shop. Anyway, here's this Northern Line train leaving Tooting Broadway on its way to Morden. Now I know the tube is supposed to run frequently, however the Northern Line is usually every minute or two. I hadn't even been on the platform 10 seconds before the next Northern Line train rolled in. One of them must have been running either early or late. Now this was absolutely great service, but there was definitely not a minute between those two trains, 40 seconds at most. Tooting Broadway is another one of those amazing underground stations that looks very nice. I think it was designed by Charles Holden, who designed, along with Leslie Green, a number of absolutely classic underground stations, but he unfortunately didn't design the Thameslink station, which doesn't look as good. Here is the Thameslink station at Tooting, speaking of that. And speaking of all things Tooting, here's a Wright Street light. And here's James Trains. I finally made it with just under 2 hours to go before it closes. I don't know what I was worrying about. Anyway, I didn't really film in the shop, I was too busy looking at stuff. However, I just managed to make one of the Thameslink trains heading back towards Wimbledon from Tooting Station on the very confusing Sutton Loop.
We will shortly be arriving at Wimbledon. Change here for other National Rail, Tramlink services and the District Line.
this Thameslink class 700, I think it's a 700, leaving Wimbledon to head back into central London via the Sutton Loop with a final destination, I think, of St Albans City.
The next city via Victoria Circus will depart from alongside platform 2.
Anyway, people, the time was rattling on and I wanted to get back to my hotel to have a rest before I headed back out at night into central London. So I'm just going to leave you with this clip of me leaving Wimbledon Station on the District line, heading back to Paddington and Edgware Road via Earls Court. And I won't bother putting the clips in, however, let's just say I hit some Chelsea fans at Fulham. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon for some more bus and train shenanigans. Bye everyone. I do waffle on a bit, don't I?